This tape includes the Kata, Seisan, Seiunchin, Naihanchi, and Wansu. On September 19, 1906, a baby boy was born in the village of Chun. His name was Shimabuku Shinkichi. He would later choose the name of Tatsuo. This boy's destiny would be to create his own style of karate after studying the majority of his life under some of Okinawa's most famous karate masters. He studied a form of Isshin-Ryu under Kyan Shotoku, who was born in the city of Shuri, Okinawa. He was a very slight-built man and was known for his kicking techniques. His double jump front kick was without an equal. However, he was a total martial artist and never considered himself a specialist. Kyan developed a respect for the law. He believed only the undisciplined would break the law. There are many stories of the townspeople of Shuri calling on Kyan for protection when gangs got out of control and police would not venture out of the city. Master Kyan died on September 20th, 1945 from malnutrition as a result of the war. Another noted Okinawan master that Shimabuku Tatsuo studied under was Motobu Choki. Motobu was born in Shuri, Okinawa to nobility. Under Motobu, Tatsuo studied another form of Isshin-Ryu. Motobu was known for his fighting ability. He has the distinction of being the only karateka to ever knock out a heavyweight champion in a contest. Since Motobu was born into a noble family, he enjoyed all the privileges accorded to his status. He was one of the most controversial of all karate masters. He never really propagated a school. Motobu Choki dies in 1944. Another famous master that Tatsuo studied under was Miyagi Chojun. Under Miyagi, he learned Goju-Ryu karate. Miyagi was a quiet man born of nobility in Naha, Okinawa. Miyagi studied Zen as well as the martial arts in a temple in central China. After many years, he returned to Okinawa, formulated the Goju-Ryu principles, and founded his own school. He incorporated the Zen breathing he learned in China and thus developed the Sanchin and Tenso Kata. Miyagi Chojun died October 8, 1953. He had the body of a bull and the spirit of a saint. He did not seek glory or gain, for he was a man of humility. Tatsuo studied Kobudo under noted Kobudo expert Shinken Tiara. Under Shinken, he learned the art of Bo, Sai, and Tuifa. Shinken Tiara died in 1970. One day, Tatsuo daydreamed by the well. In the dream, his mother came to him and told him it was okay to go ahead and share the style he had created. She wanted him to know he would be scrutinized for his decision, but in the future, he would be famous for his work. Shimabuku Tatsuo named his new style Isshin-Ryu, which means One Heart Method. He incorporated his lifelong studies under Okinawa's leading instructors of Goju-Ryu, Shorin-Ryu, and Kobudo into his new style. Shimabuku Tatsuo taught behind his home in the village of Chun. Around 1958, he opened his first dojo in the village of Agina. His first dojo was roofless, therefore hot in the summer and cold in the winter. A concrete wall for privacy enclosed it. The Makawara posts were covered by tin cans to keep the water off. Master Shimabuku always had a #1 Okinawan student and a #1 American student. His #1 Okinawan student was Kanishi Iko, and his best Okinawan student was Chinsaku Kinjo. Harold Mitchum became his #1 and best American student. Mitchum officially started studying Isshin-Ryu in March of 1958. By 1959, classes had grown so large that Master Shimabuku opened a second dojo down the street and had Harold Mitchum teach there. Master Shimabuku's son-in-law, Uezu Ungi, lived in the rear of the dojo at that time. Uezu Ungi later studied Isshin-Ryu karate and became the Okinawan representative for Isshin-Ryu on Okinawa. In 1960, a meeting was held in Agena to establish an association. The association was called the Okinawan American Karate Association. Harold Mitchum was installed as the first president. Around 1963, dues from the association were used to put a roof on the main dojo. While on Okinawa, Mitchum observed Master Shimabuku's best Okinawan student, Shinsaku Kinjo. He was so impressed that he asked Master Shimabuku's permission to study with Kinjo. Permission was granted, and Mitchum studied Shorin-Ryu with Kinjo because Kinjo never switched over to Isshin-Ryu. Kinjo preferred to continue training in Shorin-Ryu. The two trained together at Kinjo's home dojo, and a lifelong bond was developed between the two. Mitchum said Kinjo had the strongest sidekick he'd ever seen in his life. Even though Kinjo never changed over to Isshin-Ryu, he still participated in demonstrations and performed Bo Kata. When Harold Mitchum went back to Okinawa in 1999, the two friends got reacquainted after many years apart. Harold Mitchum studied on Okinawa for a total of 7.5 years and was the first American to be promoted to 8th Dan by Master Shimabuku. The late Suzuki Masafumi of the All Japan Budo Association later promoted him to 9th Dan. This was June 5, 1988. Master Suzuki had at one time studied under Master Shimabuku and therefore had great respect for him. Master Mitchum retired from the Marine Corps on June 30, 1973. After Master Shimabuku's death on May 30, 1975, Master Mitchum has continued to pass on his teachings to those who sincerely want to learn. He is currently the director for the United Isshin-Ryu Karate Association, which is dedicated to carrying on as accurately as possible the teachings of the late Grand Master Shimabuku Tatsuo. Master Mitchum will first perform the kata, followed by the master demonstrating a basic bunkai for the more difficult portions of the kata. This will be followed by a group of students demonstrating how the bunkai can be practiced in your dojo to add realism for the kata performer. Any questions on the kata performance should be referred back to Master Mitchum's performance. Master Mitchum's kata performance is unchanged from the way he was taught by the late founder while on Okinawa.
What kata is, of course, we all know it's a bunch of techniques, karate techniques put together in a sort of a walking form. And that is where you learn your discipline, really, in the katas. Just like close order drill in the Marine Corps or the other branches of service. The purpose for close order drill is to discipline the troops. That's exactly what it's for. Get them used to working together. And by learning the katas and learning the different various moves in the katas, you're disciplining your mind. And while we're on the subject of kata, most people practice kata and they go through the movements rote. And what I mean by that is they don't see their opponent. They just go through it by memory. They learn it that way, and that's of course the way you learn it to start with. Is you got to learn the movements and put them together. But if you don't never see your opponent, in fact, try to see the clothes he's wearing, the color, how tall he is, then you're missing over 50% of what you should be learning from a kata, because that is disciplining your mind right there.